Hi, hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering a spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHB +3. Those +3 are homebrew spells. We're at +1 at the moment. You can head back in the playlist to find it. And today's spell is Hero's Feast.
Don't put all the milk in, because then you're going to get a lumpy pancake mix. And the secret for me is to have a nice thin teaspoon. That helps bring a nice crispy edge to the mixture.
6th level Conjuration, casting time of 10 minutes, range of 30 feet, components verbal somatic material, a gem-encrusted bowl worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. Duration, instantaneous. You bring forth a great feast, including magnificent food and drink. The feast takes 1 hour to consume and disappears at the end of that time, and the beneficial effects don't set in until this hour is over. Up to 12 other creatures can partake of the feast. The creature that partakes of the feast gains several benefits. The creature is cured of all diseases and poison, becomes immune to poison and being frightened, and makes all wisdom saving throws with advantage. Its hit point maximum also increases by 2d10, and it gains the same number of hit points. These benefits last for 24 hours. You know, trying to think of a witty comment to a dinner table. Oh, preparing for a food fight. There we go, because you cast this before. Move on to the spell. Okay, so, alluding to that previously, this is a prep spell. Like, one of the prep spells. Not in the sense that you have to necessarily prepare it ahead of time, though you will have to get the resources and it does take 10 minutes to cast, so will likely be outside of combat, as in it will be. Prep in the sense that this is a group buff spell that you want to cast and use before the combat itself. Also, something not thought of too commonly, you can keep this table up. I'll go back to that a bit later, but first we'll just talk about the material component itself, which, ouch, 1,000 gold piece, specifically gem-encrusted bowl, which the spell consumes. That's certainly a price point. That kind of hurts. I mean, for what you get, alright. I mean, outside of that, it's amazing buffs, it cures all your diseases, makes you immune to poison disease. I mean, then, you know, poison disease, how often does it come up in your games? We've talked about briefly before, but that's still just a nice buff to have or throw on. The big thing, though, is not even the additional hit points, though that is nice. 2d10 additional hit points, depending on your level. Even at late level, adding that to 12 different creatures, that's really good. The wisdom saving throws is what I see this, at least at my tables, is whenever this was going to be cast, or is being sought to cast, or question whether we should cast this or not, is because the enemy is going to attack wisdom saves. Whether it's going against mind flayers to some extent, some kind of enchanter, because usually the spells and effects you're trying to save against wisdom, a lot of them are enchantment, but there are also a lot of nasty effects to begin with, and so it's best to have advantage against that. Because we briefly talked about this in the past, but spells that give you advantage on a specific save are pretty good or are tossed in effect. This is pretty good. While it's only targeting one specific save, aka Wisdom, it's still giving you advantage on a saving throw for 12 creatures. No concentration. That's great. Though, the fact it can stay. It lasts... Okay. It doesn't go away. It doesn't. Its duration, that's why its duration is kept in a separate thing and left in the clause. It's not that, oh, the total spell lasts 24 hours, the total spell only lasts the hour that it takes to consume it. No, it's instantaneous. You cast this, you make this feast, the bowl is gone. The food and drink is there. And it stays there until consumption begins, and then it's an hour window until it stops. Kind of that whole idea of no one sitting down for the feast to begin with until it's finally called, but the feast stays. Then you eat it, that takes an hour, then the meal's gone or loses its effects. Then you also have 24 hours of these buffs. So I don't know why you would set this up, but you could. If someone could prepare this feast ahead of time, which, I mean, you can, but how to put it, you don't need to eat it right away. When this comes to, like, cities or buildings or such, that's quite the hefty amount of resources in the gem-encrusted bowl and material component and the spell slot to use for just food, essentially, since there's other spells that can do that better. But, like, let's say you're heading into this royal gladiatorial combat, and before you actually go face your death, you have this fine feast, and get these buffs before it. Again, I don't know what organization would put this amount of materials into that. It's the best for adventurers, or a raiding party, or a group of, I don't know, the image of Valhalla for some sense is coming up to me. You know, like Vikings joining around a feasting table right before they head up to go and fight, well, I don't know, a giant or something. Hero's Feast. It's in the name. it's for the heroes. It's both going to give you bonuses and buffs to make you bolstered, almost like a hero, and then... Oh! Wisdom saves also affects fear. Yeah, no, alright. It's just a good buff. World building wise, I mean, the fact that it can last, you could put it somewhere in a dungeon as some like setup to buff up whoever's heading in, but then again, why would you buff them up? I don't know. 7 out of 10? Just because those buffs, I mean, again, poison disease thing, there's so many other features that get over that feature as well, at lower levels too, with less material cost. The fact that it hits 12 creatures though is nice, not concentration, lasts until you actually want to consume it, 24-hour period. Then you actually get to the bonus health, which 2d10, depending on who it's targeting, again, it's still free health, and it's max health, it's not temp. But that wisdom save, again, that's the main reason I see people casting this, is this is just such a good thing to have before heading into a fight, because a lot of nasty effects are tied to wisdom. But because of its gold cost, and because it's only specifically the wisdom save, and there's other spells that can do some of the other features, 7 out of 10. Material component cost as well.